Hello, we are officially live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Pageants and Prosecco live YouTube podcast recording. We have a special guest in the building today, and I'm so excited to get this interview started. But of course, customary to the name, we have our wine, and this is the wine I'm going to be drinking on today. This is actually my first time drinking one of these wine, which is a Beaujolais Villages by Louis Jadot. So it's a wine from France, and I believe it's considered a Beaujolais is the name of the wine, but it's a Gamay, Gamay is the name of the grape. So fun fact, there's more grapes out there than you might know. There's probably like 2,000 different types of grape varieties. So this is 100% Gamay, the Gamay grape, and it's made in Beaujolais, France. So this is the wine that I'm going to be sipping on today with our special guest that we have in the building. So I'm going to go ahead and open it while I introduce you guys to our special guests. We have a director, and the reason why I wanted to bring Patrice on, because I just met her on Monday in Clubhouse, believe it or not. So I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation, and I cannot wait to learn more about her and more about her system. So while we get started, let me go ahead and try to open this bottle. I probably should have ripped the seal off first, but let me tell you a little bit more about Miss Patrice Harris. So Patrice Harrison, is an award-winning international speaker, CEO, founder of the Miss Black International Ambassador, and the executive director of Ambassadors of Change Incorporated. She is dedicated to encouraging, empowering, and enlightening communities, states, and nations. She has been honored by Audi, Hyundai, Cafe Mocha Radio, the Obama administration's United States of Women, and more. You guys hold on one second, because obviously I need to see what I'm doing here. Give me one quick second to get this seal off. It's always hard to take the seal off of wines, European wines, because it's more authentic, and the corks are typically more real cork, like real tree. Okay, there we go. So Mrs. Harrison is an advocate for youth and women all over the world. She has offered workshops to children in Africa, the Bahamas, and all over the United States on topics ranging from self-esteem, etiquette, the power of a dream, developing your brand, and relationship building. Oh, this is a real tight cork. There we go. On a collegiate level, she has presented workshops at the Big 12 Conference on Black Student Government, the Southwestern Black Leadership Conference, the University of Central Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State University, and the University of Texas, Arlington, on various subjects ranging from Greek life to relationships. As I pull the cork out. Let's hope I didn't break it. Got it. Ooh, it smells divine. As a former Miss Black Oklahoma USA, Miss Black Oklahoma United States, former owner and director of the Miss Black Oklahoma USA, and current owner and founder of Miss Black International Ambassador, she serves as a 20-plus year pageant veteran, having coached Miss America and Miss USA prelim contestants, former Mrs. Plus America, Miss America Co-ed state contestants, Miss Latina US, Miss Asia USA, Miss Black and Gold state and district contestants, and Miss Black and Gold is the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternities pageant competitions, and various collegiate queens, Miss HBCU queens, and local title holders. So for all those who are watching, please give a nice warm welcome to Patrice Harrison, the CEO and founder of the Miss Black International Ambassador Pageant. Hello, Patrice.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I cannot complain. You have such an impressive resume.
Oh, thank you.
Are you sipping on anything today?
So no, I'm on a diet. I strict diet at that. So the only thing I have, and which I love, for those who really struggle drinking water, which I do, it is called a crickle. And you unscrew this, and it has flavoring in it. So I wish they had a wine flavor. But this is my tropical pineapple, lime, something, coconut.
Yeah.
It's like tropical. So it tastes like I'm drinking a tropical drink.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Nice.
it's water.
I probably need to get my water too. It's over there on the floor. So it exists.
Just have a glass for me, okay?
I will. I got a nice little amount. Probably maybe too much, but
you're going to take a picture of that bottle because it did look very intriguing. And you talking about it, I was like, yes, I must try that. That looks really good. So when I can drink wine again, I'll try.
Yeah, it's my first time having so Louis Jadot is the name of the wine, and it's from Beaujolais. So yeah, I'll enjoy a nice little sip for you. And it's 2018 for those who are curious. 2018. I think most of the wines out are 2018s. I don't know if the 2019 wine has came out just yet, or I guess yeah. And then 2020s might come out later this year.
Gotcha.
It's like shoes. I've been dying to try this. This is like a perfect occasion to try one of these wines. It's delicious. It's delicious.
Is it a dry?
Yeah, it's a little sweet.
Okay, because I'm more of a sweet red. The dry, I just cook with it. Like a good dry wine, and it has to be a really good dry wine. I'll put like in a spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
It's so amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense. I usually cook with white wine. I never got around to cooking with red wine just yet. I'm not that fancy.
Really, most red wines when I do cook with them, because I cook a lot. So when you do cook with the red wine, it's going to be usually, for me, a more tomato-based flavoring type of sauce because it enhances the flavor, and it's really good.
Okay, well, I gotta look at some recipes. What do you usually make? Oh, so anything tomato paste? So like spaghetti and pasta?
Yeah, it pretty much spaghetti and pasta. I mean, for me, it's you can make a really good homemade pasta sauce with the red wine. It's really good. And let it simmer. Or you know what's really good? I don't eat beef anymore, but when I did, you can make a really good pot roast with a red wine. And it just enhanced the flavor of the beef. And you can even just put it in a crock pot and pour the wine in.
Okay. Well, I gotta let my personal chef, who's downstairs right now making catfish, know, aka my sister. My younger sister. She's been throwing down this whole pandemic since I've been back home. I'm like, child, I know you can cook like this. I let my personal chef know. We need to add some wine to this.
Yeah, it will enhance it.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on. I know you was listening earlier, but we just met on Monday on Clubhouse.
I know. It's weird because I'm sure we've obviously been in the pageant realm and probably have crossed paths and didn't realize it. But I've been watching you for a while, and so yeah, I've watched your journey in pageantry, and then of course I've been listening to your Pageant Prosecco for a while. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's always nice to know that people are actually listening. Because sometimes you don't necessarily know if I'm actually talking to myself or if people are actually really like in tune and really taking in what I'm saying. So I really do appreciate you listening and tuning in.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
I think today's gonna be a really good episode as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put my iPad away. But I think today's gonna be a really good episode as well. And I'm just really grateful that you were able to hop on so quickly. We met, and for those who aren't in tune yet, we met on Clubhouse on the Queen's Collective. It's run by Sisse.
I said Sisse, yeah.
Yes. So it's called the Queen's Collective, and it's on Clubhouse. So you guys need to tune in. And usually on Monday's my first one tuning in, but on Mondays when they had a great discussion about all things pageantry, and it was a real nice discussion. There was a good number of us too.
Yeah, it was. It's really good. And I'm looking forward to. She's going to have some more, and I think it's really important for people in the pageant industry to have those conversations because I think that sometimes people get afraid, and I think that they kind of put on airs. And there's so many things that happen in the world of pageantry. Obviously, if they've watched your show, you've been upheavaled a lot of things that happen in the world of pageantry. But I mean, there should always be a safe space for women to express how they're feeling and what they're going through as a pageant director, or a pageant contestant, or someone. We had a girl who had never been in a pageant, and she just wanted to know, where do I start? And so I think that it's a great opportunity to have those conversations.
I agree. And I actually been in contact with her since then too. We're trying to keep pictures.
And I sent her actually to a coach as well, who is a part of our system. Our VP of recruitment is a coach in Indianapolis. And so I sent her information as well. I was like, let me see how I can help you, you know?
That's perfect. Yes.
Networking is important in this industry.
It really is. It really is. That's why I'm so glad to have this conversation with you. Also, because you announced some pretty exciting news about your system today. Like, what are the odds the universities work together like this?
Yeah, you caught me on a really great day. And just full disclosure, I've only had 2 hours and a half of sleep. So I went to bed at 5 and I woke up at 7:30. I was awakened before then because my husband leaves early for work, and then I have a 9-year-old who has school at home. So I was awakened before then, but I was coherent 2.5 hours later. So I have been going and going and going all day, and I have like all this energy. I feel like I'm gonna tip over and crash soon. But yeah, today was an exciting day for MBIA. So yeah, I can talk about it now, or we can talk about it later. You just tell me.
Well, okay, I just want to invite everybody who's watching, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask Patrice about the Miss Black International Ambassador system, go ahead and put it down below and we'll get to them later. But and then for those who maybe even want to join the call later, make sure your face is showing, but I'll welcome that as well. But if you have any questions, go ahead and post a comment and we'll get to them as well. So Patrice, you had some really exciting news about your system, and it's based around the location of this year's national competition. Do you want to go ahead and share where it is this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we all know, COVID was really difficult. And as a pageant director, it was really hard to figure out how we're going to make the best out of, you know, where do we take our girls? You know, originally we had partnered with Celebrity Cruise Line. And our girls were going to have this luxurious 6-night cruise. They were going to islands. We had excursions planned. Ooh. They had butler service. They were about to live their life, the best life. And I was excited.
On the boat?
No, the pageant was going to be in Florida when we got back, but their whole week was just, I mean, besides prelims would have been on the boat, interviews, all those things would have been on the boat, but the final night was going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And we were so excited. We had everything planned out to a T. And then COVID just wouldn't go away. Yeah. And the former administration didn't care. So with that being stated, and because I work in healthcare, I had to think about the best way to keep my my staff, my girls, my family safe, because that's really important to me. And I mean, I know that tons of people would send me a message and say, well, why don't you just have it on land like everyone else? Or why can't you just do Florida like everyone else? But what they don't know is that if I send my queens and everyone to Florida, and I'm at a great resort or hotel in Florida, and I get on the elevator with somebody, I don't know if they have COVID. Right. There's no testing done. They don't clean your rooms because they don't do maid service because of COVID. And that's a lot of, that's too much. And so as much as that wasn't going to work for me. And so we have a very long standing relationship with the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have been with them for the last 7 years, or 8 years since our first queen. I don't know what year we're on. First Queen Jasmine, we went over there and empowered some young women and fell in love with the island. And we have been back pretty much almost every year if we could. We've hosted girls conferences over there. It's just been dope. So with that being said, we reached out to tourism because we knew that in the last really a year, it's been a year technically since COVID, since COVID appeared really in the US. And so with that being said, we looked at it and I was like, you know, it's been a year that really tourism was shut down. We were supposed to head there in April for a trip and to empower some young women, and it was shut down. So with that being said, we were like, okay, these people haven't worked. They haven't been able to, they don't have PPP like us, or a stimulus package of these things that are happening in Nassau. And so we saw that the country was hurting. And for me, that bothered me because this is my second home, basically. Right. And so we worked with tourism and we came up with a plan that worked so that we could create a bubble for our contestants, for any guests that were coming. You have to be COVID tested before you go into the country, and you have to be COVID tested every other day with us. You can't even come to the pageant without a COVID test. You can't get on property at any of the resorts without a negative COVID test. We're just not playing. And so for me, it was not just, oh, let's just go somewhere tropical and have this amazing experience. But what am I going to do as a Black woman trying to make sure my community is safe, because we are dying at record numbers from COVID. And so it wasn't just, let me just go to Florida and y'all wear a mask if you want. No, this is like, if you don't wear a mask, you go to jail or you get fined $200 in Nassau.
Oh,
so we weren't playing. So we were excited because we were like, yes, now we have a plan. Not only that keeps our family safe, we can keep a bubble. And we have an opportunity for them to have the most amazing time, because Nassau is absolutely beautiful. And then we get to give back. So one of the biggest things, they got hit with Hurricane Dorian. Then they got hit with COVID right after that.
Right,
and so you have two catastrophic events right after together, and the other one just won't end. And so for us, it's like, okay, we wanted to be able to give back. And so we have a whole opportunity through our nonprofit where people will be joining us outside of the pageant piece, and they'll be giving back to over 100 girls, giving them toiletry items, talking about sex trafficking, because that's a huge issue when you are dealing with people who have millions of dollars that can get their little yachts into the harbor and prey on young Black girls.
Right, right.
Let's just be honest. And so with all those things, that's the heart of what NBIA and our nonprofit Ambassadors of Change is all about, is making sure that we're able to provide these opportunities not only for our contestants, but impact the community that we're serving.
I love that. So this year's pageant is in the Bahamas, which I think is amazing, because sometimes it's kind of tough to see international pageants held in like Columbus, Ohio. And it's just like, how is that international? But I love to see like the girls are actually going out of the country, and that this is going to be like a really great experience. I think the Bahamas is like a fantastic location. I wish I was competing. Like, I'm so jealous. If you need a photographer, let me know. I would love to join you guys. Someone can document everything that's going on.
I will. We'll have to connect you with because we have a photographer that is actually, she lives around the corner from me, but she's Bohemian, and she's been taking our girls' pictures for the last few years. But she actually will be there the entire summer already. So it's just worked out perfectly. But she will, be honest, she will need an assistant. So I'll connect the two of you guys. You never know. She's a great photographer, and she's learned, so much from other great photographers, and she's a part of our family. So yeah.
All right. Well, just let me know. I'm always here. I think I always want to mention something. So people say your hair looks great.
Oh, hi, C. That's my girl. So that's one of our former queens, Sarah. Thank you, Tajiana. Aw.
Your vision for NBUSM to NBIA has been the ultimate Black girl magic.
Oh, thank you. I say I'm nothing without my team. That's our Miriam. So she's our Mimi, as we call her. She is our Miss UK. And so that's the one thing I'm excited about, is that we have Black women from all over the world. Hey, Leona.
Oh, hi, Leona. I know Leona too.
And Leona is one of our liaisons. So she helps make sure our contestants have everything that they need to succeed. And I love her.
Yes, awesome. I love her too. I met her when we competed at another system as well. We compete together. So okay, let me make sure that's everyone. And then Crystal, like Lynn said, to give back is vital.
That is our Mrs. Missouri. So thank you, Crystal.
Oh, you got all your people just tuning in.
They did. I posted today, and that's our Mrs. Maryland.
Oh my gosh, the whole contestants,
the whole crew.
Okay, all right.
They're sweet. They're. I am blessed to be able to. And as I said, I thank them a lot. But honestly, I am nothing. Hey, Dima. So Dima is our VP of marketing, and actually one of our family members of NBUSAM, which is now NBIA. But I'm nothing without my team. I will not take full credit for any of this. I know that God gave me the vision, but it requires an entire team to make it happen. And so, hey, Tiara. So that's our Mrs. South Carolina. And so it requires a team. I'm nothing without them. I'm nothing without our girls. Without them, we don't have a pageant.
Right. That's true. So this is get into the meat of the system. So it began in 2013. And kind of what was the vision behind having the Miss Black International Ambassador pageant, what was your vision initially for it?
So I said I was done with pageants. I said it when I married my husband. And
with the Mrs. Oklahoma title?
So I had Miss Black Oklahoma USA, which obviously, for those who don't know, was a prerequisite to go to Miss Black USA. And for those who don't know, I was Miss Black Oklahoma USA long time ago. And so I went through that system, and honestly, actually, that's not where I started. I actually started with the Miss Black America system with Bashir Ahmad. When she won, I was like 16, and I watched her win, and I knew her sister, and I knew Bashir my entire life. And so I was like, she's the one that got me hooked on pageantry, period. Okay. And so with all that being said, you know, I've been through basically both Black systems, major Black systems. And I said I was kind of done with pageantry. I was just married. And then a year later I had a daughter, and I was just done. I was just coaching. I was coaching people, and I just felt like something was still missing. So no shade to any other system, because I won't throw shade. But what I will say is that I wasn't seeing I was not seeing the deep down, get in gritty with the community. How are we creating change? And so when I coined that phrase, change agents, that's what I looked for. And so when you think about women, like, I always based everything off the story of Esther. And so when I looked at Esther, she was a change agent. No matter what she was going to do, if I perish, I perish. But I'm going to make sure that I change my community so that people can live. And that's really what I've always prefaced my system after. Even when I was Oklahoma director, you know, I called my girl Esther girls, or GE women, Generation Esther women. And I've carried that through the last 20 years of my life. And so with that being stated, I just wasn't seeing it. And so when you don't see something, and then I was like, I thought I was done. I don't know how I'm gonna tell my husband I'm not done. And so I like really prayed about it. And I remember I went to DC, and I was coaching a young woman and supporting some girls who were competing at Miss Black USA. And Dima and I sat down at this Thai restaurant around the corner from the theater. And I was like, hey, I have an idea. Like, you're going to think I'm crazy. And I was sitting, you know, some other directors, you know, that, you know, they're like, oh, you should come back and direct. I'm like, no, I'm good. And I was like, I got an idea. And I told them my idea. And a lot of people just was like, and I was like, no, it's not to shade anyone, or, you know, I'm going to be very frank. It wasn't to shade Karen. It wasn't any of that. I mean, no ill will toward nobody else. It's like, I was like, no, this is something God dropped in my spirit that I'm trying to avoid. Because I told my husband I was done, but I can't run. You can't run from your calling. And so when I decided I was going to move forward with it, and our first year we had 28 contestants, our first year. Wow. And we exploded. And I'm thankful for the women that were there from the beginning, from Dima to Ivy to Lauren. You know, these women helped shape MBUSAM at the time. And then when we went to the Bahamas with Jasmine the first year, I knew then that I never wanted this just to be a US-based pageant. I always knew I wanted to be able to bring Black women together on a global level, because at the end of the day, you always hear that Black women, we just can't get along. We can, but there's also a major connect in the international population of Black women. So if you look at women who are from Africa or from UK or for the Caribbean, or even Black women in Asia, we all have something major in common with Black women, but we can't connect. There's a major disconnect. And so I knew, you know, 7-8 years ago, I wanted this to be international. It just took 7 years to get there. And so, yeah, that's why I started, because I realized that there was something missing. I knew that there was a bond of Black women that needed to be mended, and us to be able to connect back to diaspora. And so, yeah, that's why we're here.
I love that you mentioned Esther as well, because one of my favorite verses is, who's to say you wasn't made queen for such a time
as this? Yep. Yeah. And that's one of the things I have. I'm pretty sure it's like in 3 places in my office right now. Because that's actually one of my favorite verses, that anytime I get discouraged, I have to remind that God has me here for such a time as this. Right. Trust me, I've wanted to quit multiple times, because it's not easy being in my shoes. It's very tough, and it's very hard, and it's a very sometimes lonely place. So you're like, I want to quit. But then I go back to that verse. period. And so who's to say you weren't put for this reason for such a time as this?
Was made queen for such a time as this. And and Esther was very, like, she was nervous, but she really went forward in her vision to take down. I remember the story of Esther. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so embarrassing because of Veggie Tales.
So yeah, I love that. So I'm a big Veggie Tale fan. I had all the collection for my nephews, and then when they grew up, they gave it to my daughter, and I made her watch all of them. But we watched that one over and over and over again, and that's actually one of my favorite Veggie Tales.
Every time I think of Esther, I think of like the asparagus stalk. Like,
yes,
I can vision Esther.
She had this little flip of a hair, and
yes, and then Malachi had like a tomato or like a little pea or something like that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we have more Veggie Tale love, so we here.
That's funny.
Oh, goodness. What do you think makes your system international? Is it having girls from other countries compete? Is that what makes it international, or is it going to the Bahamas that makes it international, in your opinion?
I think it's definitely having the different women competing from different countries. And so we have, like I said, Miss UK, we have a Miss Australia coming, we have a Miss Cameroon, we have Trinidad and Tobago, we have women from the Bahamas, obviously, so they get to have it at their home country. We have a Miss Black China.
Really?
Yeah, we've had, there are Black pageants all over the world. And I think that people didn't know this. And so for the last several years, I've just been sitting and watching these Black pageants evolve. And I was reaching out and say, hey, we're starting something. Just hold on. We have something coming. I can't tell you what. Yeah. And so I started connecting with these other Black pageants and talking about, there was a Miss Black Belgium pageant. There was a Miss Black France pageant, and the French government shut it down. Because they said that you're French, you're not Black, you're not white, you're French. But French people who are Black people experience so much discrimination, but it's like we don't talk about it. And this is why we need systems in countries that we're not well represented. But then you have countries that are like Miss Cameroon, mostly everybody is Black, 98%. Trinidad and Tobago and the Bahamas. And so people ask from that point of view, well, why have a Miss Black Bahamas when we're all Black? But racism is not always looked at from, you're Black, you're white, or you're white, you're whatever. But there's colorism. There's also things that have to deal with racial divide when it comes to you might be Haitian and this person might be this particular type of nationality in the Caribbean island. And so you guys have this issue, or you might be considered, immigration is an issue, but really it's not immigration, it's really racism. Right. Because when you have two different cultures that are bashing heads based off of, you not wanting them in their country, it can become an issue with racism. And so where they might call it immigration issue, it's deeper than that. And then of course, like I said, the colorism issue is a big issue. And that's always been an issue amongst Black women in general, but it's really big in countries that are predominantly Black. And having traveled to Africa, I can see that because my hairstylist, she used to have a full counter full of whitening products. And I'm like, why don't you take those down? Like, it's killing us.
Right. And then a lot of people don't realize that, and there's also like when it comes to beauty as well, like I know in India or like in Mexico, a lot of people are darker skinned. But it's not necessarily shown because a lot of the models are lighter skin. And that's who people think, represents that country. But if you actually go there, you'll see more people of, darker skin tones. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's really big. And it is a huge topic. Like, I think
Tajiana.
Okay. My eyesight, I can tell if the I was before the J or after. I am trying to get better contact. The pandemic has been hard. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I just want to read over the mission statement of the MBIA pageants because it says more than a pageant. And you guys have 4 categories, which I also love that you're incorporating the misses as well. Mm-hmm. Hold on one second, I'm pulling it up. Okay.
And that was a big pivot for us as well. When I think about being change agents, we had our Miss and our teen division, and I loved my Miss and teen queens. They're literally like, especially, my queens who won, they're part of our family. My husband's been like a big brother to them. However, I realized that we were missing a whole nother demographic. You know, since the beginning, people ask us, can you please have a Ms. category? And I was like, for what? And I really I was confused. It's like, sis, you 30. What you want to do a pageant for? I don't know. And then like people are like, can you have a Mrs.? I was like, for what? And so I had to really sit down, and I was just like, oh, okay. And so I didn't do it for peer pressure. Like I said, I will never do anything without one, praying about it first, and then two, figuring out there's a purpose in it. And so I had to look about the community. We were missing a whole two demographics of women. One, women with children, single moms. Two, we were missing the whole 30 and above. What happens with your life next? Yes, you can hold the title and you can empower so many women, right? And then the Mrs. category, Black marriages are failing at an alarming rate. And so for me, it was more or less empowering Black women who are moms and wives, or wives in general. You don't have to be a mom, you can just be a wife. Being a wife is hard enough. So with that being stated, I wanted to be able to have a tribe of women who were wives who can help strengthen each other in them and through marriage. And also marriage as an American Black woman is so different from women in other countries. And
Right.
so like the conversations that we've had are like, whoa, well, why do you look at us like we're crazy? And you know, the whole submission thing, like it's a whole lot of conversation. And so that's why I felt we needed to have those conversations and break down those barriers. And so that's why we started the Mrs. Division.
Well, I love having the Ms. and the Mrs. because as I approach that Ms. age and still get bit by the bug, you know, ageism in this industry is real. And I didn't think about it until I reached this age and I started aging out of competitions. Obviously, Miss America was first. And it's like, wait, I just got my talent together. Like, I just figured this out. And then you get older, you're like, wait, I just figured life out. Now my whole resume looks better. Now I could talk better. Like, now I'm too old to compete in these pageants. So I for not missing out on people who are, you know, are older, or people who come into the pageant world at an older age. You know, for Black people, I don't think a lot of us really competed in pageants from 6 until our 20s. Some of them are just now finding out about pageants, and there's certain ones that, you know, that you want to do, but you just simply aged out. And some people just don't know about what they want to do in life. And we all have different career changes and different motives and everything. But I do want to go and read your mission statement before I move along. The
Sure.
Miss International Ambassador exists to give a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Black women globally to serve as ambassadors of change and to encourage, empower, and enlighten communities, states, and nations. These global agents are rising voices in the community that seeks to make a difference by providing educational forums and events that focus on health disparities, poverty, violence, and major issues plaguing the Black communities. They are role models not only to young African American women, but to women around the world. They partner with key political figures and international initiatives to bring support to their efforts and platforms. These women are more than a pretty face, and the program is more than a competition. It's a program that gives 365 days of support and resources to communities in need. The program is a platform for today's savvy, smart, and aware Black women to express their viewpoints, talents, and accomplishments to the international public while offering scholarships and grant opportunities to further education or their business, which I love too. That's one part about having older women as well, is that, you know, some of us are entrepreneurs at this stage, you know, as you get older.
And you may not need the scholarship money, but guess what? Everyone needs a little bit of seed money for their business.
And I love your mission statement because one is very detailed, but I feel like you hit exactly what you want to do, you know, touching on those communities that are in need, those who are the poverty communities, the you know, people who really need help. And I feel like a lot of pageants, their mission statement is like one sentence, but yours is like really deep. And I feel like it takes a certain type of woman to really want to stand up to living up to that level that you put out for your mission statement. And I just love it. When I first saw it, I was like, whoa, like this is not a regular competition. You got to come in here on business. And even your website, all 4 your title holders are all on business: entrepreneur, a coach, a future doctor, and I forgot what the other one was.
Jashira's finishing up and about to head into law school. So she's a future lawyer, and she's a civil rights activist.
Hey. So yeah,
Ty is a business owner, and she's been doing great. Quinetta has several businesses. She's an amazing mom, so she's on point too. So our Fab Four, as I call them, they are phenomenal women within their own self, but together collectively, they are some bad women.
Is that what you're looking for? Like, what are you looking for in your title holders? Do they need to be like do they need to have that purpose and that drive? What are you looking for, are you looking for the same thing in your teen that you are looking for in your missus?
Oh, no, absolutely not. So a teen is a little different because, and Brookie's just like super, she's I call her my super teen. To be she's not 14 anymore. She's about to turn 16, sweet 16 in a few weeks.
Hey,
and so I met her when she was 14. And when I met her when she was 14, like, she's super accomplished. And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Like, let me go ahead and get my life together. But she's so empowering. My daughter loves to spend time with Brooke because she has this drive about her. And I love to see that in a teenager, because teens these days, it's like, let me TikTok, let me do this, let me do that. And for her to have the drive to want to continue to make lives better. I mean, she focuses on maternal health. She's 16 almost. Yeah. But she has a passion for maternal health and making sure that moms, Black women, particularly women who are pregnant, have healthy pregnancies and healthy births. And we don't, we're dying so fast from being in the delivery room and not having advocates. And she's an advocate for that. And she's 16, almost 16. So with that being said, like, that just makes me excited. But what I think about is that, do I look for that in every single teen? No. I look for that individuality strength, that we can pull something from you, that you don't mind being molded and shaped into a phenomenal queen that can reign, that can be passionate about your projects and what you're wanting to do. And so for the teen, it's a little bit different, because that gives you an opportunity to mold and shape you. I think that sometimes when you get to be 17, 18 years old, you feel in yourself. And we have to remind sometimes our teens, like, oh, whoa, like let me bring you back because you're not grown yet.
Right.
Okay. And so I almost like a big sister to them, because I am old enough to be their mom. I have to continue to remind myself that, but I'm not. So I have a 9-year-old. That's it. And so they're still like a little sister. And so
don't age yourself too early.
Huh?
Don't age yourself too early now.
Right. Yeah. I just got a 9-year-old. We're good. So yeah, I try to be that big sister to them so that we can help mold and shape them into being a world change agent. And that they feel comfortable traveling and going and speaking out to other teens and being a light to them. But I don't want to like stifle anything, because the teenagers go through more now than I ever had to as a teenager. Social media sucks for them. There's so much opportunity for them to be hurt and be bullied and things of that sort. I didn't have to go through. I can't say you, because you're still in your 20s. So you grew up with social media. I didn't. And so it's different. And then for like our Miss, she's that, it's hard to say what I look for in her, but if I had to like pull it all together, I look for her what I see in my former Miss Queens. So like Sarah was on, I don't know if she still is, but I look at Sarah and she was almost like our all-American girl. Everybody just gravitated to her. Like, I don't know what it was, like a magnet. And so she just drew people in. Jasmine did that. Lee, being active and wanting to do things. Ebony, they were self-starting, getting out there. Archie, who's still part, all of my former queens, I look at their strengths, and if I can put them all in one bottle, that's kind of what I look for, is that a woman who doesn't mind being a self-starter and sees the passion, is not afraid to go after it. That's kind of what I look for in my Miss. And then for my Ms. and Mrs., because these are so different divisions and new for us, my Miss is someone who's not afraid to walk out and be who she is, whether she's an entrepreneur, whether she's a mom, whoever she might be. She's not afraid. She's bold. She's willing to take the risk. She's willing to be out there in the community and talk about those uncomfortable things we don't want to talk about. And then our Mrs. she's that wife. She's the one that I'm not looking like saying, you can be stay home mom, you can be whatever that might be. but she's that one who's an advocate for marriages. She's the one that's an advocate for her community. She's the one that is multifaceted, because when you're a wife and a mom, you got like 10 personalities and they're all going at one time. And
Right.
so can you juggle that? Can you be that person, but still be in the limelight and be okay with that? And being comfortable within that own space. Because sometimes when you get older, like you kind of like, you don't want people to tell you what to do. And so that person has to be comfortable with us having a crew of people that are like, hey, I need you to do these things. So yeah, it's kind of different, but we're not looking for that typical pageant Patty.
I love that. And you guys also have 6 categories of competition as well. So that kind of filters out some of them patties among you guys. And the competitions, which I love, of course, well, you have the regular ones, which is evening gown, fitness, on-stage question, modeling, and interview. But you also have social impact, which I think is really big. Can you tell us, like, what is it when it comes to social impact that you think helps people? What would be what am I trying to say? What is the social impact that you are looking for when it comes to that category?
So, well, the social impact in the interview portion are pretty much almost like in the same thing, and then we have a social media piece too. So, when we look at the social impact and interview piece, is that I'm wanting to know, like, how have you changed your community? What have you done? I am a very tough pageant judge. Like, woe is you if I'm on your panel, because I have this resting face. Or to leave it at that, where I'm just like, okay,
let's show
like
us.
impress me, show me what you've done, not, well, when I win, I'm gonna do these things. Sis, what you been doing this whole time? Like, I don't understand that. I just don't. Like, bye. You get a 0. I will give you a 0 if you tell me anything ever like that. Because in my mind, that means that you're here for the wrong reasons. And so for me, what we look for in our queens is that we have to tell them is that, you know, are you going out there in the community? And of course, right now it's really hard to do that in a pandemic. We get it 100%. And so, but what have you done in the past prior to the pandemic? What have you done during the pandemic that can help others, whether it's just a quick check-in or, you know, certain things that you may not have actually put out there in the social media world, but you might have done personally. You know, you've impacted someone's life during the pandemic. And so it's really hard, obviously, in the space that we're in to try to figure out what that looks like. But you can be you can be a person that impacts lives, even if it's not in front of the eye of the community. But when we look at, you know, social media piece, and that's a huge thing because social media is marketing. And let's be honest, yes, we're all about being changed, but we also have to run a business. And sponsors like to see our girls busy. And when they don't see our girls busy, they're like, why are we sponsoring you? What are we giving you a scholarship for? Because you don't do nothing.
Right.
And I've literally had sponsors say, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. I appreciate it. And I've ended up having to pay a scholarship because a sponsor was just like, I don't see enough movement.
Wow.
And so yeah, social media is a big piece of who we are, because I want people to understand is that if you're not visible, it's almost like the world of healthcare. If I didn't chart it, it didn't happen. So if you're not putting it out there, it kind of sometimes it didn't happen. And so we actually have a panel of judges from April on all the way leading up to June of looking at what our girls are doing on a social media level, because they want to know, like, is this somebody that can represent brands? Is this somebody that if somebody gives me a $200 gift and we ask our girls to talk about it, can they actually do it? Will they actually do it?
Right. I love that. I love that. So is that the same panel of judges? It's not the same judges that's going to be there on finals night, right? This is somebody separate?
Separate panel.
And they don't know at all who it is?
Ooh, and I do that for a reason, because for the social impact piece or the social media piece, it's just because we want to make sure that it's authentic, right? So I can say, hey, you know, we give them a rubric. Like, we give them a rubric on every end, and we do actually. What makes this a little different from other systems is that we train our girls starting from January to now to June. So all the way from January for competition, they have workshops, and they are, you know, they're not mandatory, but we're going to train them on interview. We're going to talk to them about what to do in the, you know, for costume. We're going to talk about We do hair and makeup stuff. We do everything that they need to do to be prepared. We will go over every ounce of it with them. There should be no excuses. On top of that, they get leadership and development training from January on. And then we break it up. So like for the month of February, we broke it up in the divisions so that we can speak to those levels. So a team can't and a missus can't be on the same level talking about the same stuff. So we have someone, an expert, talking with our teens about healthy relationships and healthy dating as a teenager. And then we have someone coming in for the married women, and we're going to have a whole good time talking about all things marriage with a whole nother set of speakers. And so we pour all that back into our contestants, and it's no extra cost to them because we want them to know that whether you win or not, you've walked away with so much and you're full. We want to just keep pouring into them. We want it kind of be overflowing so they feel like, man, I got so much more than I expected.
Right. And I think that's kind of what a lot of contestants are looking for when they compete in pageants, not just to apply and not hear from nobody, until pageant day, but to kind of be guided until that finals night. Like, what exactly, like, groom me? Like, what exactly are you looking for? How can I be the best contestant? How can I be the best title holder, period? So that's really amazing. How are you able to even balance being a wife and a pageant director in the same body with all that you do?
It's hard. And that's, that's the hard part of pageantry, right? Yeah, like Dima said, the judges know that the judges.
They don't even know who.
Yeah. We typically, now mind you, they'll end up knowing who the judges are for final night and preliminary competition. But for some of the other stuff, they won't know until later. We'll let them know after it's over and that's been judged. But so how do I balance? I'm stuck at balancing. Something got, so my daughter is an actress too. So I'm momager to her career. And so, the
9-year-old?
Yeah.
Wow.
The 9-year-old is an actress. So I manage her career and work with her agents and managers, and I'm like the person self-taping. And then like my husband's super chill, and I think that's what makes us so good as partners, is that he's just like, eh. So like I'm like so excited to get some news today, and I told him, he's like, good luck.
I love it.
That was a good thing, right? Okay, yay! But this is how his demeanor is. He's just super chill, and I'm like super up here. Yeah. But I had to learn, over the last several years, I had been really ill and trying to balance the pageant, and I had to take a whole sabbatical for almost 9 months and leave the pageant in the hands of my amazing team, and they kept it afloat while I healed, because I became deathly ill, and I was like terrified. And I had to realize that self-care is your, it's very important. Your health is your wealth. And so I make it a point. Now, don't judge me, because I did say I only got 2.5 hours of sleep because my brain would not shut off. But I've had to make it a point to like stop at some point. I try to make it a point on Sundays now where those are my times to just be there with my family. Because on top of all this, I actually still work a full-time job. I work in hospice. And so I'm a liaison. So, I carry 2 phones all the time with me. And I'm working to make sure families are okay. And during this pandemic, I've been extremely busy. And so, but I do that by managing a whole international organization on top of a nonprofit. And so it's hard. I have a really good planner. And I write everything down now because I will forget it if I don't. I have a great team. Like, for real, you guys, when you think about it, the circle support of people that I have, I would be nothing without them. They are amazing. And they are the reason why I am still here. So
you gotta delegate. You gotta delegate.
Yeah.
I love it. How many people do you have on your team? I know we have a few who are in the
15.
chat now. 15 people?
I know that because I had to send everybody stuff for Christmas and stuff. So there's 15 people. Yeah. And Dima said, shout out to Camille for keeping the organization together. Yes. When I was ill, she's our operations manager, and she pulled it together. Her and Archie kept everything afloat while I was gone for 9 months. And then Dima came back on board, and we have an amazing core team. But then within our core team, we have our liaisons, we have division assistants, and we have people that, are helping manage my international queens, because usually I'm the one that manages the queens. It's really hard to manage 4 people. So, we've had people just kind of step in, and we have an amazing team of volunteers. And so we wouldn't be anything without them. I might hold the vision, but they are the key to making this all happen.
Oh, I love that. Shout out to your whole team. Thank you guys for I know when
ask me hard questions. Ask me harder questions.
Let me think.
Well, I don't bite.
Jump into the fire. Well, I can be messy now, Patrice.
I know you can be messy. Try not to be messy. So if you come messy, I probably am going to turn it around and flip it to a brighter side. Or I'll
media interview. So you have media training. I love it. Okay. So when it comes to the other systems you compete in, because I also competed in those same 2 systems, and I've had a good experience with the one system, and I had a not so good experience with the other system, and I had an episode on that as well. What is it that you felt like you really wanted to do differently? Like, I know you wanted the girls to be change agents or agents of change, excuse me, but why do you think that it was necessary to have another Black pageant system when there's 2 existing?
So no shade to the other systems. I goes back to the calling piece that, like, I debated that in my head because, again, I came from both. And they shaped me to the woman I am now. And so I give credit to them, especially with Miss Black America being the oldest. And things have obviously changed over the years. But for the Oklahoma system, for Miss Black Oklahoma, America, as I was trained by a civil rights icon, Miss Claire Looper. And so, she shaped me in the world of pageantry, and taught me what to do and what not to do. And so from both experiences, I have learned what to do and what I liked and what I didn't like. And so to say all that, I just realized that there was something I still wasn't seeing. Like, it was something that was burning and bothering me. And I felt like our women needed something a little different. And I think that, not saying that they can't go to systems or try different systems. I mean, Miss America is different from Miss USA. And then you have like USA National Miss and things of that sort. So, every system is different. It's a matter of how you look at it and what you're going to get out of it. I am not Mr. Anderson or Letha from Miss Black America. I'm not them.
Thank God.
I'm not Karen. So, how we deal with things, how we work through things is completely different. And so what those girls will get out of those experiences for them competing in those systems is what they get out of those systems. And I will say this, not every girl that's come through our system has, whether they've liked it or not, we've not been perfect. Let me be very clear. We're not perfect. We've made lots of mistakes. I am human. I'm not a perfect person. I'm deeply flawed, but I will do everything. And I can't speak for those other directors, but I will do everything for my contestants and for my queens. I will go without, so to make sure that they have what they need, without sleep, without money, without a whole bunch of things I've gone without. So to make sure my girls have what they need, because I'm invested in them. Right. I call every single girl and have a one-on-one with them just so I get to know them, because I never want to walk in a room and not know who they are. I don't want to be like, who are you again? I think that's rude. I just think that's so rude. Yeah. So for me, it's an investment. For me, it's personal. It's deep down, because if I can give them something that God has given me that's poured into me that I can impart to them, whether they win or not, if I'm able to give them something that can help them to their next level in life, then that's really what my job is. It's not, who cares about the title or what my title is? I don't care about that piece. What I care about is them on an individual level, and right, how this impacts them and how they can grow and how they can build. And I think that's what makes me a little different. No shade to, again, any other system, because y'all do what y'all do. That's fine. If you watch this later and you mad at me, I'm sorry. Like and people asking, oh, did you do that to make such and such mad? No, you were the last thing from my mind. Trust and believe. When I was on my face, like, God, I really don't want to do this, because I didn't want to. I wanted to just be a mom and a wife and live in a house. So I did not want to. I said it was done. But again, you can only run so far for your calling. So to answer your question, short answer, we're all different. We're all different. And what I give to my girls is completely different from what I've received from those systems.
And you kind of started asking another question I wanted to know. And
Sure.
I'm going to my wine for this one.
Uh-oh.
But
my water. My water's right here. My tropical water. Go ahead.
Maybe I should get the bottle for this one. I do know that when you like the pageant, Miss Black USAM, when you guys first started, that there was a bit of a not even like a conflict of interest, but there was a problem with Karen and the Miss Black USA system. And when you started your system, can you kind of explain what was the turmoil that was going on when you wanted to go about and create and branch off? Because word on the streets, from what I heard, was that she was really upset that you created a new system and branched off, and that you were blocked, I guess, in a way from her. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I'm blocked still. And I mean, there's no secret. Again, I have no qualms with Karen, and I will put that out for the entire world to hear. Karen, I have no issues with you. Congratulations on your Image Award. I'm very proud of you.
Yes.
I have no issues with her because I can empower women. I cannot empower women and say that I'm in ministry and say that I'm all about women empowerment, and then I down her or I say anything negative about her system. I came from her system. And so, yeah, she might have felt slighted, and it was not intentional because, again, I say this again, I do not answer to her. I don't even answer to my husband, who's still like, you still doing this? I don't. I answer to God. He's the one that called me. He's the one that ordained me to do this. So therefore, this is what I will do. And whether you like it or not, that's something you got to take up with him. So, yes, I feel like she did feel slighted. And I apologize if she feels that way. But, I mean, it is what it is. I didn't do anything to purposely hurt her or to purposely come from her. Now, did I have people that were within my system that did some things that were questionable? Yeah. And I nipped that in the bud because, again, I can't call myself somebody and do something completely opposite because I'd be a hypocrite. So I have no issues with her. I wish her well. I wish her system well. I hope they grow. I hope they flourish. I hope we get to the point with all Black systems that we can all be on one accord with each other and do things together, because the more that we do together, the better that we grow. I am so over the fact that Black women cannot get together and create something amazing and do something and create synergy to change our communities when we have issues within our own camps. I am over that. Fix it. I will call them out, and people can call me out for anything that they want to call me out, and I'll own whatever we've done that has not been kosher or you felt like was not the right business move. But again, I will say this to anyone: I have no issues with her. I am wishing her well. I was so excited when I heard she got an Image Award. That's like you give people their prompt, their props when they do something great. Do I always agree with how she handles things? No, but that's her business and that's not mine.
Right. And I do want to mention she got the Outstanding Literary Award for her book, Next Best Life.
Yeah, and I'm proud of her. And I think that that's the thing that people assume that, of course, yes, there's the things out there, or you girls, did I block my girls from competing her system? No, you can go wherever you want. If you go to my system, you go to hers. I don't care. Was it the other way around? Yeah, I mean, that's proven knowledge. I mean, that was out there. And so I'm not putting in something out there that wasn't already seen and people haven't seen float around. Am I still blocked? Yes. If they unblock me, great. If they never unblock me, that's fine. At the end of the day, I want us to all flourish. I want us to all grow. I want us to be our best selves. And I can no longer, again, like Dima said, we over here minding our own business. When I start minding other people's business, I can't handle my own.
All right.
Period. And I mean, we have our own issues. So I need to handle my stuff and make sure we're good on this end. And y'all can keep doing what you do on your end. But one day I absolutely hope. And I mean, again, I've known Karen for a very long time. Obviously, I competed in the system before Karen came back with Miss Black USA. So I've been a part of that system for a long time. I was a director for a long time. And so, but all that to say is that you know, you grow and you move and you change and you evolve. And at the end of the day, and if anyone has learned anything from this pandemic, stop sweating the small stuff and the petty stuff. Let that stuff go. Like, you got bigger things to do. You got a calling on your life. If you literally focus on that, that is a vision blocker. That is something that's going to stop you from growing and building and moving in your own calling in life. Let that crap go. Nobody cares about that no more. So I don't mind talking about it because that's old business for me.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring it up because that's something that I heard, obviously.
I mean, yeah, everybody's heard those rumors and people are like, oh, we should talk about this. I don't have a problem talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. And I don't have a problem telling people how I really feel.
So, and then I do want to mention another one of your staff says that you hold them accountable. So I am proud to see that. I am proud to see that. Also, word on the streets. I don't know how recent this was. I guess it probably was in your infancy years, but some people had problems with the scoring and the way that the judging was handled. I think in like the first 2 years, they felt like the winner was picked ahead of time, and I'm not sure, and I don't want to bring anyone's name into it, but I think it was like the first 2 years. I'm trying to think, because I competed in I had to be 2013 in other systems, and that's kind of when I heard about you guys were just coming forward. So
that must be 2014 and 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't mind addressing that at all. So one, I suck at picking people. Like, like I'm serious. Like, I was like, this person's gonna win. I'm like, oh wait, they didn't win. Okay. Like the only person I was like, I think she's got it. And I didn't think that till like day 2, or like, well, actually 2 days before the competition, was Lee, because I actually had picked her roommate Alonda in my head, and Alonda is now like a dear contestant who is almost like family to us. Like, her and Charity are like big sister, little sister, right? Yeah. And so in my head I was like, it's Alonda, and then Lee got on stage. Nope, it's Lee. And so no shade to Alonda because she's phenomenal, but in my head, like, I already had the person in my head who I was like, you know, and so that never worked. With Sarah, I didn't pick Sarah to win. Sorry, see, you're on here. She knows that. Like, I don't pick our winners. I don't pick we don't pick our winners. Okay. It goes by the scoring. I think that the biggest concern was they felt like we should have had more qualified judges. But at that time, our executive producer at the time, who is a phenomenal pageant girl, she picked out some really hard judges. We had people who were in the fashion industry, photographers, who were celebrities, who were on reality television, you know, so it wasn't like those judges weren't hard judges. And so I get how people can sometimes feel that way. But I have every score sheet. And literally, I just finished packing up 2014 stuff and was trying to figure out how to scan it into my computer so I could dump those files out of my closet. But I keep everything, because at the end of the day, I want never, ever anyone to come back and say, we tainted some scores or we did something. Because, I mean, no shade, and again, my legacy queens know this, like, you know, there's people that have won. I was just like, yay. But I had to learn how to, God picked me. Thank you, C.
I love it.
But she knows no shade, because she knows she's like a little, she's part of our family, you know? And I got to know Sarah, and we are inseparable. That is my girl. I would travel the world with her, because, but I've learned to develop these relationships with my queens. I didn't pick Jashira, but I love Jashira. I love spending time with her. I've gotten to know her, and we've gotten to bond. And so I say all to say that we don't pick our winners. No, because I mean, I just don't. I don't think it's right.
So are you just as blind to the scoring until the end of after the show, until you see the score sheets as well, or do you?
So I found out who won 2 years in a row right before they announced. They try to keep that from me, and then I'd be like asking questions. I'd be like, who's winning? When Lauren was my executive producer, she would tell the judges, if you see Patrice coming, somebody call me, because she's gonna ask, where we at, guys? Because I'm nosy. I want to know. Then one year they took my phone from me. They took my phone, and I was sitting at the front row. And that year we had a very irate parent. We had to call security, And so all of a sudden I see everyone in my team moving, and I'm like, dang, I ain't got no phone. I like told my husband, let me have the phone. Let me have your phone. He's like, for what? And I couldn't move. I wasn't allowed to get up. I didn't know nothing happened to the end. And they were like, yeah, I guess why we took your phone, because you need to sit and just watch. And I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. I need to know what's happening all the time. And so I say that to say, I don't ever know what's going on. The one year I did know what was happening is I was backstage because I wasn't feeling good, and I was backstage, and I knew who won because Ebony was jumping up and down like she won the lottery, and I knew that Lee had won. That was Ebony's pick. And so I was like, oh man, you weren't supposed to say nothing, because now I can't be excited at the end. But that's the only time I knew who won, because they just don't let me in on that. Sorry. Okay. I wish they did.
Yeah. Well,
this year I would find a way to get my kid to find out for me. Send the 9-year-old to investigate.
Just go look over there, see what's on the paper.
Right. Well, and honestly, we don't even do scoring like that on sheets anymore. Everything's digital. We use Tally Genie. So there is no touching scores. No, Tally Genie handles all that for me. Once those judges input that stuff digitally, you can't change none of that. So if you were trying to change somebody's score, no, we make sure the integrity is there. That's what we use Tally Genie.
And do you work to make sure there's no conflict of interest between the judges and the contestants? Like, how hard of a process do you weed out your judges?
So this has been a hard year because I have contestants that know everybody. It's really annoying. So I'm like, who got the perfect judge? And I'd be like, oh, dang.
They're agents. They're connecting with people.
They know the connections are there, right? And so this year has been really hard with my judges coordinator and I. Just like, what about this person? Oh, that person knows such and such. Like weeding through their social media to see if they're connected is like the pain in my side. And thankfully I have a judge coordinator who does all that. Shout out to Taylor. You're awesome. But yeah, it's really, really hard because I don't want anyone to be like, oh, such and such knew the judges. Now, mind you, I always tell the girls this, you never know who will be your judge. So I might have you interact with it. They might be a speaker that came to speak to one of the girls in, in one of the speaking opportunities that we have for them to come to a webinar. They might be somebody, I will never tell them. And that happened to me when I competed at Miss Black USA. My judge, who was also my makeup artist, who was the makeup artist to Michelle Obama and to Oprah Winfrey, Mr. Derek Rutledge. Yes, he has touched my face. He is amazing. He was my judge, and I laughed my butt off because these girls were rude as crap around him, acting a fool. I didn't know who Derek Rutledge was back in 2003. I was like, he was with the Revlon team that was doing our makeup, and I was like, but when he walked into interview, and the look on those girls' faces in the hallway, I was in tears laughing. I was like, you never know who your judge is going to be.
Right.
And I reached out to him at one point. It's like, hey, do you remember me? Because I was like, you touched my face. I was Miss Oklahoma. You remember? And, he remembers people because he remembers how you treat people. And so I always tell girls, you never know. Watch how you act around people. Watch how you act on social media, because you act ratchet and act a fool. You never know who your judge is going to be.
Right. And I do want to say that there people are cheering on Sierra, saying that she was such an amazing queen. So obviously the judges picked right.
She we called her America's sweetheart. I mean, the energy that Sarah had, I have yet to duplicate in anyone that I've had in our team. And not shaped in none of my other queens. It's that Sarah was in a whole nother league in herself. And I didn't know that about her until she was queen. And I got to know her, and I spent a lot of time with her, and we traveled together. And honestly, she's family.
Yeah, I love that. And I love you. You have such a nice presence about yourself, such a genuine presence that I obviously don't feel any shade coming towards you from any of the other systems. I feel like you are a genuine person. I do see God shining in through you. And I do appreciate the advice that you gave on the Clubhouse chat room Monday to me to follow into my calling. And I really took it to heart because I really needed that at that moment. Because I was like hesitant of even saying the information about being a photographer on the Clubhouse chat room or in the conversation. And I really do appreciate your kind of encouragement, saying, what's for you is for you. And it was just really, really nice. So I just love your spirit, and I love your energy. Everything about you is just so just so nice and so free. And I just feel like that kind of embodies your whole system as a whole, your whole pageant system.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you're right. Don't be afraid, whether it's your photography or whatever you're seeking to do. Put your whole heart into it. Pray about it, write it down, write the vision, make it plain, and go after it. Because if you don't, you'll regret it. And people always ask, all the things I've been through. And I've been through a lot as a director. I got a book. I got like 6 books probably about being a director. I've been through hell and high water as a director. But I will say this. People always ask, would you do it again? And I, without a question, yes, I would. I would do things differently. Yes. Change some things. Yes. Make sure that people don't, hose me out of money and things of that sort. Yes. But at the end of the day, rest more. Yes, I would do that. But I would not change this for anything. I could not see my life without MBIA and all the amazing women that have come across my life, not just the girls who've won, but there's contestants that are forever ingrained in my heart who are part of my life, from my team. I love them. And if you look at our team, 95% of my team are former contestants.
Yeah.
And it's because they believe in the system that it's changed their life in some form or fashion. And I'm so grateful for them. And so
a lot of girls come back as well to compete again, correct?
They do. And I'm excited. That makes me excited when I was like, we did something right.
It was a good year.
Yeah, we had a good year that year. And I mean, again, not every year was great. And I will wholeheartedly say to anybody, oh, thank you, Destiny. She is from our Oregon side, and I'm going to mess up her title in just a second because I could see it, and I always get the titles wrong because we have regions now, and I get all my regional titles wrong. But so she's our Miss Division. I love Destiny. So with that being said, I will say this publicly. I have done not saying I've maliciously done anything, but we have not been perfect. And I will say that all the time. So if I've ever hurt anyone or felt like we wronged them in any way or felt like they didn't get a fair chance or whatever, again, I always believe in fair chances when it comes to pageantry. I never want to be known for a pageant that wasn't fair. But if you ever felt that way, I apologize because that was never our intent. Our intent was for you to have an amazing experience and grow as a woman. If you feel like you didn't get something that you should have got, I apologize. Again, our job is to always make sure that we hold up our end of the bargain. And sometimes that's hard to do when people don't do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And so I say this as you wanting to be a future director, always make sure you have those checks and balances with the girls in mind. I mean, I've had girls who didn't show up pageant week or be dropped a week before the pageant and still owed us thousands of dollars. If you've ever planned an event, those things have to be paid in advance. And so, we've had sponsors, and you know what, I'm gonna be honest with you, most of our struggles have come from Black businesses who did not do what they said they were going to do and left us with, bills that we had to pay.
Right.
And so, those are the hard pieces of it all. But if it's like that gospel song, I've had some good days, I've had some hills to climb, but all of my good days outweigh my bad days. I won't complain. And that's how I feel about this system, that I've had some very, very dark days that were really rough. But when I have pageant week and I see how lives have changed, and even one of my former queens, and I had a conversation today, a former teen queen who's grown and has kids and a husband now. She almost had me in tears. She's like, what you guys have done has changed and shifted so many women's lives. She's like, people need to know the story.
Right. And I do want to ask you, because you have appointed titles, and I'm not sure how many state pageants you have. I do know some of them are appointed.
Actually, all of them are appointed right now. We just opened up our director's program again. We shut it down.
Okay. So do you think that by having so many girls to either first system or second system nationally competing, that it kind of puts them at a disadvantage in a way when it comes to trying to compete at nationals because they were appointed, as opposed to how we typically do it by winning a state and then going on to nationals? You know, that puts them at a disadvantage.
I would say yes and no. So when we did have state pageant directors, the reason I shut them down is because my directors weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Okay. And not all, just most, not all, but most. And it was causing more harm than good. And so our girls were the girls who struggled the most were my girls who had directors. And I just like, that's not how this is supposed to go. So that's the reason why we shut it down. And so we are bringing it back up. And so the good thing is that because we make sure that we provide that training on our end, it gives everybody, a level playing field. That we want everyone to come into nationals week knowing that they've gotten the skills that they need to be at their best.
Right. Okay. That's just something that I see as a common theme in a lot of these black pageants. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Is that they do appoint title holders. So do you think that some pageants kind of take advantage of girls by giving them an appointed title, knowing that they don't have a chance of winning their system, or that they, are just trying to, like, I guess, scam girls out of money by just appointing them this title, knowing that they might not even win? I know you competed in 2 other black pageants, and they might have had appointed titles then. Do you think that some of these black pageants are scamming black contestants?
So I would say pageants in general, because there are pageants in general that do that. And I hate to say that because with our system, it's not about if I think you're going to win. It's about what do I think you can gain. It's how can we help you build? How can we help you grow? How can we make you a better woman? How can we give you the skill set so that when you walk away, that you maybe never compete in another sister again, but you have taken away from this experience and you're a better woman than the one when you came in. And when you leave, you've changed. We make sure that we change you into and make you into and mold you into being a change agent. So for us, it's not about whether I believe that you can win. It's a matter of, do I believe that you can create change? So I can only speak for us on that. Now, for every other system, I do think there are systems out there where they were like, let me just get your money. And it's not just black systems. There are tons of systems out there that like, let me just give me your money. That sucks. And I always tell people, people are like, well, girl, you must be living in a mansion. No, don't do that.
You got a nice little house.
Right. I just got a regular house, and we have a regular car. And by the way, did I mention I work a full-time job? And I don't get paid to do MBIA. I want to make sure my staff has what they need and that my girls have what they need and the pageant has what they need, because lo and behold, we are a black pageant. I am not Miss USA. I'm not Miss Universe. We do not have their money. We just don't. We struggle to, and again, when you have those rumors of animosity amongst black pageants, people decide they don't want to support any of the 3. Because there are more black pageants, but let's just be real, there's the top 3. And so with the top 3, if we are at odds and that goes out to the public and sponsors or networks or people hear that, they don't want anything to do with any of y'all or us.
Right.
And whether we did something or not, it's like, it's guilty by association. Okay, all y'all crazy, then we don't want to touch you. And so with all that saying, going back to the scamming piece, I think that there's a piece of that in some systems. I can't speak to the other 2 black systems only because I have no idea what they're doing right now. I just don't. I don't know. I try not to be. I don't want to be in their business. So I don't know what they're doing. I hope that they're not. I know about your experience, and that really made me sad, and it sucks. However, I don't know what they're doing. So maybe they've changed things. Maybe I don't know. So I'm gonna go with I don't know about them, but I do know of other systems that are not black that I know for a fact where I've heard directors say, I just need them to cut a check and keep it moving. I'm like, dang, for real though? You don't want them to girl, she ain't gonna win no way. I just need her money. We need to meet our numbers.
Oh, geez, child. Jeez. When it comes to the black part, is there how black do you want your contestants to be? Like, is there a threshold of what is
Yeah, when you said that, I had this whole school days flashback real quick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because some people feel like they're excluded, or some people might feel like they're too, if they're mixed, they might be too on the white side to be considered for this pageant.
So let's talk about that colorism, right? So I went off on someone politely went off on them because we had posted a picture of one of my queens. She's mixed and she's very fair. I actually have about three girls on our who are very, very fair for their hue, right?
Are they the contestants or the winners?
No, current contestants. Contestants. And so we had posted, welcome Miss such and such. And somebody posted underneath, she's not really black. Excuse me. I was like, oh, you didn't mess with the wrong person. I'm a mama bear. You poked the bear. So I was like, I politely DM them. I have deleted your comment and I have blocked you from our page. And the lady was like, I can't believe you came after me. No, I can't believe that came out of your mouth.
Right.
I was like, at the end of the day, all of us are mixed with something. I did my DNA test. My husband laughed at me. He's like, he always has jokes. He'd be like, is that the 36% of you that's Jewish and white? I'm like, you know what? I asked you for your opinion. I was like, you lied at me. You white too somewhere. Yeah. But with that being said, so it's never a matter of if you are black enough, because I mean that's something I think that we fight with. I've been a PWI my entire life from elementary up. I'm a military brat. So I grew up with different people from different cultures and I learned to embrace that. But I also was the girl that had a whole bunch of friends that were white. And I still love my friends that are white. Hey, friends. Like they cool. Now, some of them, they got unfriended because, they support Trump and they had to go. But with the point being is that I was called an Oreo. I was called the girl that wasn't black enough. And then in college, I was the president of the Black Student Association. Next. So at that point, like, you can't determine my blackness. You can't tell me what my story is. You have no idea the shoes that I've walked in and the discrimination that I've been through. So I can't stand when black women say you're not black enough to be in the system or you're too black, because then you get that in other systems that are Caucasian based. You'll say, oh, you need to put, 20 inches in. Girl, if you want to rock those 20 inches, great. Like, or if you want to go ahead and do a twist out like I did in 15 minutes, like keep it moving. It's okay to be whoever you want to be. Crystal, who is our Mrs. Missouri, I'm like, I wish I could wear a bald head. Like, this forehead of mine, it don't work with the bald head. Like, but she can do it. And I love it. Like, Dina has these phenomenal dreads. I'm like, teach me how. I love that about us. So it's never about if you're black enough or you're not black. Because that's what makes us who we are. We're black women. We have our hair in all different types of ways. It will be different tomorrow. We come from different backgrounds. I know you've talked about this before, being at a PWI and people not understanding, we come from different cultures. My husband and I said, you don't know the HBCU experience. Like, bruh, my sister went to Langston. It was like 30 minutes from my school. I was already there. Like, I didn't go to school there, but I was there a lot. So, I maybe didn't get all of that, but I wouldn't trade my experience for nothing, because it wouldn't have put me on the trajectory of my life I was on. So I always tell women when they start bickering about that crap, let that crap go. You black just like black. And at the end of the day, if a police officer stops all of us, we're all black.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes from our African queens and our other queens from the Caribbean. At the end of the day, boo, you are black. Because come to America, the police officer is not going to ask you, what country are you from again? They're going to look at the skin that you have, and they're going to realize that you are a black woman, and that makes you a threat. Period.
Yeah. It does.
I'm not there. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was going to say, my hair will change and as soon as we get off this podcast. As soon as we get off. I don't want to keep you too long. It's already been like an hour and a half. But I do want to ask about the Miss Ambassador, because it was just mentioned. Can you talk to us about the Miss Ambassador Week, and what is it like? What do you guys do for the Miss Ambassador Week? I think this is also what sets you apart in the other pageant systems as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started, I'm trying to remember. Dima can correct me if I'm wrong. Call me Miss. So it was always just like pageant week, except to like maybe year 2 or 3. I think the year Ebony one is when we did the Call Me Miss Ambassador conference. So that was the first conference that we did. We had speakers come in. We had girls from the community, other women in the community that were able to be a part. I remember that year, Selena Johnson just happened to be at the hotel with us, and she was taking pictures, and it was just like, it was dope. It was an opportunity for us to pour back into the women, because we realized that that we had more to give than just have a regular pageant week. So So we just kind of changed everything. So that's what the shirt, my shirt says, "Call me Miss Ambassador," became a coined term because it was like, you know, we're ambassadors of change and we want people to call me Miss Ambassador, right? So that was one. So then we just started to having our Ambassadors of Change luncheon, where we give out additional scholarships for girls who have done great things in the area of the pillars of Ambassadors of Change, which is the parent organization that houses MBIA, which obviously is our nonprofit. So, I mean, AOC is our nonprofit. So, you know, we started working with, you know, the girls on health and wellness, leadership development, women empowerment, community involvement were our 4 pillars. And so the girls would apply for scholarships. We give additional scholarships out and honor and thank those girls for all the work that they've done. And then we would honor women. So we've had Rashada Tate Billingsley. We have honored the women from Girl Trek, Sonia Jackson Miles, Brandy Harvey. That was fun. Brandy was awesome. Brandy got there, was preaching to us. Like we've honored some phenomenal women from Disney executives to, I mean, you name it, celebrities we've had. Dr. Jackie, Egypt Sherrod, Marshawn Evans Daniels. Like, these are phenomenal women that we have been so blessed to honor. Even one of our main sponsors, fiscal sponsors, Shannon Day. And you are like, do white people sponsor you? Yes, Bombshell Fitness is our fiscal sponsor, and they are amazing sponsors. Shannon is a white woman. And we've honored Shannon before. And so we get that opportunity, and those women get to meet our girls and pour into them and talk to them. You know, so Egypt and Marshawn were awesome. They were giving some great tidbits. And so that's what makes us a little different. And then we take that week and we make sure that we're doing something that gives back. So when we had the pageant a few years back, we did a food bank here in North Atlanta. And the girls went there for a day and helped with packing the boxes and things of that sort, because that's who we are. So with the Bahamas, it's a little different. We had already planned to give back to girls impacted by Hurricane Dorian. It was actually my 9-year-old's vision to host this princess party for the girls. And she wanted them to feel loved, because a lot of these girls lost their parents and lost everything they had. And so she ended up raising a few $1,000s and bought all this slime and stuff for the girls to have fun.
Oh, really?
So she was like, okay, so we're doing this during the pageant week now, right? I was like, sure. I guess that's our community give back. And so instead of just impacting 40 girls, now we're looking at 100 girls. And so we're, you know, gathering an Amazon list so people can purchase a book bag, and it gets shipped directly to our base of, we have a whole base of people in the Bahamas. We have our own team there, and they'll be collecting all the donations. We'll be giving out toiletries, supplies, and things of that sort. And so we're taking the 9-year-old's vision and letting her lead. And she's going to be working with our Fab Four to make sure that we can pull off a phenomenal event of just giving back and pouring back into these 100 young girls that we're going to be servicing.
I love that you're going to have glue and slime on a plane going to the Bahamas.
Slime in boxes. I was like, yeah, okay, we're going to do slime. But it's like that we're doing, the girls are going to be, you know, journaling and having different rooms that they can go in and learning more about themselves. And then, of course, the scientific STEM piece is all the 9-year-olds. So she's going to be leading the slime workshop, how to create slime. Have at this. Go for it.
She's going to be like, ma'am.
So yeah, I think that's what sets us apart, is that generally at the heart of who we are is service. It's what we do. It's what we love. And yeah, we've been burned, and you know what? We've been burned, and guess what? We got back up. I always talk about the beauty of life is that there are ashes in life, but the beauty is that God can take those ashes and create something even more beautiful. And I believe that this year for us is our most beautiful year yet. We've been through hell before. I've been through hell, but I'm telling you, this year to us feels like something amazing. And the pandemic was rough for everybody, but God has really blessed us during this time, because we are almost at 70 women.
Really, across all 4 divisions?
Yeah, all together, not each division.
Oh, yeah.
but that's amazing. That speaks volumes to who our team is and who our recruitment team is, but also speaks volumes to the women that are a part of this organization.
So do you give out scholarships to each of the 4 divisions, or scholarships or business seed money to all 4 winners?
All 4 winners get.
And does it vary year by year? How much do they get?
No, it's typically always been 5,000. And we hope that within the next year it will grow per division. Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at you. I love that. And then also, I did want to ask.
Tough one.
Okay.
It's tough.
Go ahead. Say it again.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to marketing is important, and when people don't, when people don't do their job, it is really tough to get a sponsor to stay on board. So any queen that you're ever in a system and you are supposed to do things, do it, because you never know how hard it is if who's watching, and you want your sponsors to always stay on board and be engaged. And that's any system. That's important.
Right. And then your girls actually get the money. I did want to ask. Like, they actually get it in their hands.
Yes, I mean, and I will be full transparency. We've had people not pay us, and so my husband and I have paid it.
What? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, and it does say in the contract. Let's say the sponsor decides to pull out, we're not responsible for that. But I'm not about to tell someone who needs to pay their tuition, sorry.
Right.
No, right. That's not fair to them. And so, like, yeah, we've paid a few scholarships before. I mean, he wasn't happy about it, but we just wrote it off. And I had to work extra hard for that, like extra hard, just to make sure that was taken care of. Because at the end of the day, like, if I made a promise, I want to come through with it. And yeah, it might have been delayed a little bit, but I gave them full transparency. Hey, so this is a drop. This is the reason why they dropped, and so I'm going to make sure it's handled. And I handled it personally because it, and I just wrote it off on my taxes. Because I mean, that's the integrity of our system. I couldn't do that. That's not fair. Even when people haven't paid us or would stiff us with a bill, we paid that. Because again, that's the hard part of being a director. That's the part people don't want to talk about. Like, what is that stiff you with the bill? Since your name was on that contract, you have to pay it. And so I've had that happen numerous of times. And it doesn't matter if I have a lawyer, I can go after people all day long, but they still feel the need to try to not pay things. And yeah, I will send you to collections in a heartbeat now. Because at the end of the day, I have a kid that needs to go to college in 9 years and less than that. And so I'm gonna need to stop paying stuff when people don't pay us. But I mean, that's full transparency, because at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to walk away feeling like they didn't get what they promised. And so that to me matters. And so I've been in that situation. I've been in those shoes where I'm like, so I'm not gonna get it. And it's not okay. So if it's requiring me to work extra hours or, do what I can to make sure that it's paid, I will do that, because I made a promise. And I don't ever want a girl to feel like she didn't get what she deserved.
Right. Well, I love that. And I do appreciate your time and, hopping on the podcast and talking to us about your system and anything else. Is there anything else you wanted to add or anything you wanted to mention that I didn't ask you?
No, I think we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, because no one really ever gets this transparency piece of me, because they don't ever ask those questions. I think people are afraid of me. Don't bite. I'm the most chill person.
Are you scared? Are your contestants scared of you?
I think some are, until they actually get to know me, and then they're like, fine. Like, so she doesn't bite. That's why I do the one-on-ones. I'm like, I don't bite. Like, and most of the time I don't do my one-on-ones like this. Some of them have gotten my hair that's been up in a ponytail first thing in the morning. I'm like, yo, I'm tired. Like, okay, let's talk. But it's important that I talk to them so they know I'm not scary. I'm just a normal person that has feelings and bad days. But so I appreciate you, because I don't think anyone's gotten no one's asked those questions, even the hard ones about other systems and the rumors. I think that those things people are always afraid to address. And I appreciate you for addressing those and talking about them. And, the elephant out of the room, like, my elephant is gone now. Like, we're good, right? And so I think that's important. So I can't thank you enough. I know we had, hopefully you had a good time tonight. I did. I had a good time talking to you and just.
I always had a good time tonight.
Huh?
I would say I had a good time tonight. The wine's down.
I mean, is that your only glass you drank today?
Yeah.
See, So you must enjoy the conversation versus, girl, let me go ahead and have another drink.
It is. I mean, I don't want to drink too much because you said you notice when I drink too much Prosecco.
Well, no, it takes you a while to get to that point, though. You're good.
I try my hardest. And then also, like, I go with like a speech thing too, like a speech impediment. So I try, like, when I get drunk, sometimes I sound drunker and my words are slur because of my little speech thing. So it's a constant, I have to constantly, like, think about how I talk regular. Mm-hmm. And when I get drunk, it's like times 2, it's worse. So that's what I kind of like try to end my podcast at that point.
No, you're good. And I appreciate you. And I want to say thank you for everyone that tuned in. I hope you got to learn more about who I am, who I am as a person, my transparency, certain things you're like, dang, I didn't know that. I enjoyed sharing those things with you. I don't have anything to hide. So I'm just pretty much like an open book. So,
I'm curious.
Did anyone have questions?
I think we kind of got a few of them. Oh, one person never good question. But I do want to ask you, I saw the colors on your thing and you mentioned elephants. So I want to know, are you what Greek organization are you a part of? Are you Greek?
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Everyone thinks that I'm Greek. I'm not Greek. I'm not. Sorry, guys.
Your color is kind of like, oh, maybe she's trying,
No. So yeah, it's funny though, because when we first started MBIA, and people used to think that we were a whole team of AKAs. The only person that was an AKA on the team was Lauren. But our colors were pink. I just like pink and gold. I always thought they were gorgeous colors. And so we went with pink, gold, and black. I thought they were just really elegant. Yeah, but I'm not Greek.
Okay. All right. Well, I do want to just go ahead and just say thank you for joining us, and I do appreciate it. And you are more than welcome to come back anytime on the podcast to talk about it, especially as you get closer to your International Week in June.
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys. Media, we get you a media badge, and you can cover and do. Get you a media badge. Go on to the Bahamas and soak up some sun with us.
We are in the Bahamas in June, you guys. Tara, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys learned a lot about the Miss Black International Ambassador System. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. As usual, you guys, your glasses are empty. Mine will be empty any minute. Our hair is going to be different any second now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And as always, peace.
Bye.